Law and Order, SVU 10-23-25 Recap, Season 27 Ep.5, Feed the Craving SHOCKS viewers. Here is your Law and Order SVU recap for the brand new Thursday, October 23, 2025 episode that premieres tonight on NBC. According to the NBC synopsis of tonight's Law and Order SVU Season 27 Episode 5, Feed the Craving, Rollins and Curry turn to the woman's doula for an explanation of what happened when she was kidnapped while in active labor. A confession is sought in front of the jurors by Kerosene. For our Law and Order SVU recap, be sure to bookmark this page and return between 9 and 10 p.m. ET. Check out all of our Law and Order SVU recaps, spoilers, news, and more while you wait for the recap. The Law and Order SVU recap for tonight starts now. To see the most recent information, frequently refresh the page. A woman in labor was thought to have been kidnapped in tonight's Law and Order SVU episode. SVU had Detective Rollins back. This case was being worked by her. After leading her own unit, she returned to her former division. The new chief of detectives effectively pushed her out of her unit. She introduced one of her own people first. Then, until she made the work awful, she continued to tie Rollins' hands. She wants even successful units to be completely reliant on her, and she achieves what she wants. She has also begun to infiltrate Captain Benson's unit. Her own guy was brought in. She persisted in requesting Benson to work at a desk. Benson's doesn't receive the desired outcome because they have one of the NYPD's most successful divisions. Because they were buddies, Benson also rehired Rollins. At least one of Rollins' children had Benson as their godmother. Additionally, she continued to cooperate with Rollins' husband, the Ada. Although they knew how to handle it, they recognized that working together again would not be simple. Natalie Tanzillo was the pregnant woman that was kidnapped. She had a stillborn kid. She wanted to put off seeing the doctor until the very last minute, but her doula persuaded her to do so. Natalie then noticed him outdoors. Panicked, she ran away. She was not kidnapped. She wasn't pregnant either. Natalie informed the doula of the stillbirth of her child. She added that her rapist was the reason she became pregnant. The rapist reportedly met her at work. Natalie hasn't had a job for 2 years, according to Rollins' check. That was demonstrated by her W-2. They believed Natalie was volunteering when she encountered this rapist because they learned that she was active in a charity. Natalie was taken to the hospital as soon as she was located. She declined to go to Northwell Greenwich Hospital, therefore it wasn't the nearest hospital. When the physicians dismissed her for not being pregnant, they transported her to Presbyterian instead. Even Natalie was unable to inform Benson. She appeared perplexed, if not disoriented. They discovered Natalie's flat, so it also didn't make sense that she wasn't pregnant. She was dressed like a baby. She has sonograms. Even whether Natalie had been correct to believe that her rapist was following her was uncertain to them. They were certain that she had experienced some sort of trauma. Benson does think that she was abused, and she believes that she created the pregnancy to cope with the trauma. The sonogram was discovered. They were shocked to learn that Natalie was experiencing insanity, but she was still careful enough to download phony photos off the internet. They began to speculate that perhaps she had previously been pregnant. They located the personalized onesie. When they looked into her job at the charity, they were trying to figure out who had ordered it. The name was Wheels for Pups. When he went streaking in college, her supervisor there has a record. He was now a gay man who was happily married. He also mentioned to them how difficult it was to work with Natalie. She hinted that she suffered a miscarriage when she wasn't making up false diseases. Given that Natalie had previously been pregnant, she reasoned that perhaps they were correct, until the sender of the onesie was discovered. Her former doula had been the one. Natalie wasn't a victim, she said. In reality, she was a predator. Natalie sobbed as she related how she wanted to give delivery at home after her baby was stillborn. The doula had no medical background. Additionally, they volunteered to be their doulas for free since they felt terrible for Natalie. Natalie was the only one to sexually abuse more than 30 doulas. They have a board for messages. After one individual posted, they were all at SVU in no time. Natalie used FaceTime to masturbate. In front of the doulas, she rubbed her nipples. She always said she had heard it might induce childbirth. She requested that these women dress, massage, and wash her. She never became pregnant. She was just a predator who figured out how to trick women into spending days by themselves in her company. Benson wanted to hit her with the book. Benson was unconcerned about the difficulty of locking up a female criminal, or that Natalie would turn this into a tearful tale about how her own rape traumatized her. Benson was skilled at trapping her since she was an emotional vampire. When Benson believed she was a victim previously, she was sincere. In case Natalie decided to file a complaint, she included her personal phone number. After a while, Natalie called. She believed she could control Benson the way she controlled the doulas, and Benson was no match for her. Benson persuaded her to retract her falsehoods. Each and every one. She never experienced sexual assault. She never got sick. It's time for her to quit making stuff up to get attention. She was taken into custody. She was arrested for both the sexual assaults and a fraud scheme. Later, her attorney developed a defense that claimed she was innocent due to insanity. She has Munchausen's syndrome. To get sympathy, she devises ways to make herself ill. A physician agreed with her opinion, and it went far beyond that, therefore the doctor was mistaken. They placed Natalie on the stand. Carasy slammed at her. He persuaded her to acknowledge that she is capable of moral judgment. When she refused to allow someone to be arrested for assaulting her, she took action. Her attorney consented to a plea deal after he damaged her reputation. She enters a guilty plea to the accusations of fraud and will not be prosecuted for the rapes. Benson is aware that she will be meeting Natalie once more, so that's all right.